Hello and welcome to Liberty Nation's LNTV. I'm your host, Mark Angelides. And today we're joined by Liberty Nation's Legal Affairs Editor, Mr. Scott D. Cosenza. Welcome, Scott.
Hi, Mark.
And we're here to talk about Mississippi. Now, Mississippi gave a Mr. Willie Nash 12 years for having a contraband phone in prison. Scott, can that be correct?
It's shocking to believe, Mark, but yes, it is correct. Nash was found with a phone in prison, and found maybe a bit rich. He actually presented it to the prison staff, and it's a crime that requires only the facts that he had the phone. He was in prison. It's against the law to have it in prison. He was sentenced to 12 years, and I think many people thought, you can count me among that list, that the Mississippi Supreme Court, when they reviewed his conviction, which they did, would have knocked that sentence down quite a bit. Well, the case was just reported out of the Mississippi Supreme Court, and we learned that they find no legal error with the imposition of the 12-year sentence. And so now the Supreme Court will be the ones to decide, if they decide to take the case, whether or not 12 years for having a contraband cell phone is legal under our Eighth Amendment's protection against cruel and unusual punishment.
So, I mean, what's the background behind this, though, Scott? Like, he didn't smuggle the phone into prison. Is that correct?
Mark, it's bizarre. The man, Mr. Nash, presented the phone to the staff for charging. The facts seem to suggest, Mark, that he was admitted to the prison. He was convicted of a misdemeanor crime. That's what he was in prison for. And he had his phone with him. And with the various searches that occur through the booking process, the process to get into the prison, they didn't discover it, and perhaps he didn't volunteer it. There's no evidence to suggest that he even knew he was doing something wrong. And in fact, everything suggests, Mark, that he didn't even know it was a violation. He said to the guard, as the Mississippi Supreme Court writes in its opinion, "Can I have some juice?" The guard thought he was asking for a liquid. He was asking for power for his phone to power up. So he didn't even know he was doing something wrong. And was, now the citizens of Mississippi are going to have to pay to keep him in a cage for 12 additional years because of having a phone, if the Supreme Court doesn't intervene.
Well, Scott, not being a legal mind, it seems strange to myself. It seems strange to me that either this was a complete failure on behalf of the prison authorities booking him in and failing to explain that he couldn't keep his phone, or something else is afoot. What do you think the Supreme Court will do in this?
Well, it's a staggering indictment, Mark, of not only the prison authorities, but also the judicial system, both the prosecutor who brought the case initially. So he was convicted in a Mississippi criminal court of this charge. So where was the prosecutorial discretion involved in that case? I want to be clear, Mark, this case does not involve Mr. Nash sort of using that phone to run a drug empire or do anything else nefarious at all. Just having the phone in and of itself was the charge here. How will the Supreme Court rule? Well, Eighth Amendment cases are the jurisprudence there as to what means cruel and unusual is a bit hard to wrap our hands around. The case law does not, I think, give us a strong guidance whether this case will be ruled as cruel and unusual. But I do hope, Mark, that the Supreme Court finds some legal cause when they examine the full case to see to it that this person is not spending 12 years of their life for simply being, unaware of jail rules.
Well, Scott, we'll certainly check back in and find out how this goes. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Mark.
And thanks to you at home for joining us. If you like this content, we've got a lot more over at YouTube, on Roku, or head over to libertynation.com.